read T4 is inactive. You know, when it's released, it's inactive. Actually, 80% of the T4 is activated by the liver, the gallbladder, the bile ducts, and actually the kidney itself. That's why it's necessary for the liver and gallbladder to be functioning properly, because if you're on Synthroid and you can't convert that T3, or you can't, I mean, that T4, and you can't activate that T4 because your liver's congested, it's fatty, or your gallbladder's gone, or your gallbladder's congested, or you have gallstones, bile ducts are messed up, then it's going to be hard for you to activate that T4. And you might think you're doing good. You might think that you're taking this Synthroid and everything else, and you're still not getting results. Like I said, 80% is going to be converted in the liver and the gallbladder and the bile ducts, and then you have 20% of your T4 that's going to be converted in the kidneys. Now, a lot of times people are deficient in salt too, because I mean, really, the body is made of 80%, 90% water. I mean, all living substances are composed of 80 to 90% water, and really, the inside of our body is nothing more than salt water. So, if your kidneys aren't working properly, and you have a real acidic pH, and you're having problems, then you might also have a problem converting that T4 or utilizing that T4 and get that conversion in the kidneys. Another mineral that's really important to look at while I'm thinking about it is selenium, because selenium is also necessary to convert T4 to T3. So it's important that you supplement or get enough selenium in your food, or if not, if you are taking an iodine supplement, to supplement with selenium. And iodine is great to take with minerals. You really need a good array of minerals and pure, clean water when you take iodine, just like seaweed. Kelp supplies iodine, and what does kelp grow in? It grows in seawater. So, it's a perfect example of how nature simulates what's really going on inside your body. So, just to talk about some health benefits of iodine, mental retardation, low IQ levels is one of the main things in children that you look at. And, mothers need 2 to 3 times the amount of iodine during pregnancy. And this is a huge problem. So if you know somebody that's pregnant or even trying to get pregnant, highly recommend that you put them on a good form of iodine, because it affects the fetal brain development, and it affects emotional health and many other things. One of the things I like using iodine for is the fact that it helps detoxify heavy metals, and it makes water more soluble. It helps eliminate toxic metals like mercury, lead, and then, of course, it also helps decalcify the pineal of fluoride, and it also helps detoxify other metals and detoxify the build-up fluoride and bromide from the thyroid gland. So usually what's been reported is about 12.5 to 50 milligrams of iodine will increase the urinary excretion of lead and mercury, and usually that happens even within 24 hours. But when you're pulling metals out of the body, you want to make sure that you're very hydrated, and even when you do take iodine initially, you might even go through a healing crisis. And the healing crisis is just headache and fatigue and everything, just where your body starts to slowly eliminate all those toxins. Another benefit of iodine is it's a cofactor for insulin. So, we're not talking about curing diabetes or anything like that by giving somebody insulin, but it is something that every diabetic person should take a look at. And whenever diabetics make good lifestyle changes and get enough iodine, well, most of the time their insulin functions better. Another thing that people really don't know about the benefits of iodine is the fact that it is a powerful antimicrobial and antiseptic. I personally take it. I barely ever get sick, but my kids sometimes go to school. they're around a bunch of vaccinated children. They're always coming down with something. The conditions over there, the air quality is bad. All that stuff. So one of the good things about iodine, it's a great antiseptic, and it was used in the early 1800s and early 1900s for people that had any type of bacterial infection. That was basically their antibiotic, is just dosing up high on iodine. And to this day, there's no bacteria, virus, any type of microorganism that can survive or adapt to being in an iodine rich environment. So it does help to protect yourself, your immune system, from invading microorganisms. And this is another trick that my wife loves to do, is iodine is incredibly good for anti-aging in the skin. If you just take some good iodine and an ace iodine and a glycerin base, because glycerin is, I wouldn't do this with alcohol because alcohol is very dehydrating to the skin. But glycerin in itself, vegetable glycerin, I'm not talking about animal products, but a good USP certified vegetable glycerin with the iodine in it, like the toxidine that we developed. And you take a small amount and you rub it under your eyes, over here by your crow's feet. You rub it on your face, any part of your skin. And it takes a while because your skin is 7 layers deep, and you're going to have to slowly start repairing it. But if you do it for a long period of time, we've seen dramatic results, even better than the $500 facial toxic chemical based, facial anti-aging creams that are out there, which are, nothing more than plasticizers and everything else that just fill in the wrinkles and make you think that you're looking younger, but it's actually causing cancer, because of the toxic chemicals in that, and sunscreens as well. So it's great for skincare. I would highly recommend it. Cuts, burns, stuff like that. It's a great antiseptic. So you just can't go wrong with that. Another benefit of iodine is the fact that it helps to elevate the pH in the body. Not only myself, but if you're watching this, you know something about natural medicine, and you probably searched all over the web, you've educated yourself, you know about the acid alkaline balance in the body. You know that when the body becomes acid, that's when disease starts to form. You know that when you eat live, raw, good foods, that your body becomes alkaline, and that in an alkaline environment, you're able to resist disease more. Iodine actually helps raise the pH of the body, which is another great benefit to it. Iodine, we touched on it for women's health, but I mean, it's extremely important because, when I was seeing patients, and, we have people that call all the time, mostly women, because women pay way more attention to their health most of the time than men do. And it's a humongous problem out there with the fact that women are suffering from polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, fibrocystic breast disease, fibromyalgia, uterine fibroids, any type of these cysts and these fibroids. The ovaries actually have the second highest concentration of iodine in a woman's body. When they're deficient, the cysts form. So basically, if there's no iodine in the thyroid, if it's saturated with fluoride, you're not taking iodine in through the body, then the cysts form in the ovaries, and especially around your menstrual cycles. If, for the ladies that are listening, if your breasts become tender, that's a sign that you have iodine deficiency. Cold hands, cold feet, low body temperature. If you're always cold, that's another sign. Puffiness around the eyes is another sign. A tongue, when your tongue feels like it's too big for your mouth and you have a problem talking, that's another sign of iodine deficiency. Brain fog, low energy in the afternoon, all of these things. We'll go into some more symptoms about that you can look for to see if you have an iodine deficiency soon. But breast tissue is also a huge sponge for iodine, and iodine is concentrated in the breast as well. There was an article here that I wanted to read to everybody from 1993. It was recommended that women take 3,000 to 4,000 micrograms a day to promote healthy breasts. Now, that's a huge difference considering the fact that the RDA, our trusted FDA and US government who gets everything right, actually says that we need 150 micrograms per day of iodine. That is extremely, extremely low levels of iodine. How they came up with that number was they looked at when they added iodine to they made iodized salt, and they looked at the minimum amount of iodine that would prevent a goiter from forming, and that was 150 micrograms a day. Personally, now, especially with Fukushima, especially with the chemtrails, especially with all the stuff that's coming down on top of us, the radiation, iodine, the radiation from Fukushima, the radioactive iodine 131. I mean, we need to protect and saturate our thyroid even more. I usually take, 40 milligrams, which would be 40,000 micrograms, which sounds like an incredibly high number, a couple times a week. But in the case of a nuclear or exposure to radioactive iodine 131, it's recommended that people take 120 milligrams a day for 6 to 7 days to protect their thyroid if they're in direct, proportion or direct area where they're going to be affected by that radiotrophic or radioactive 131. So if a woman's thyroid or if a man's thyroid is iodine deficient, so her breasts, her ovaries, everything's going to be deficient. And it's no surprise that the medical literature has found correlation between thyroid disease and breast disease and subpar thyroid function and even the leading cause of breast cancer. What really, upsets me is the fact that everybody's, going all these walks for breast cancer and all this stuff and donating all this money when they're not addressing the root cause of these problems. All they're doing is putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms. And, hopefully you've taken the time and effort to read my book, The Green Body Cleanse, because that's going to tell you about the root cause of all disease instead of just the symptoms of disease. So another thing iodine deficiency can affect is the structure and the function of the breast tissue. If you're breastfeeding or you're trying to get milk in there, it can also alter that. And the fact that the cystic breasts end up being very painful. And actually, there's even been correlation that cystic breasts may even lead to breast cancer. There was a study in 1967 by the Journal of American Medical Association that found breast cancer in mice was linked to iodine deficiency. The National Health and Nutrition Survey from 1971 to 2000 showed iodine levels had dropped 50% from 1971 to the year 2000. So that is, during that time, by the way, thyroid disorders. Think about this. How many thyroid disorders, how much breast cancer, how much prostate cancer, ovarian cancer.
I'm going to go back and watch more of this because I do take the iodine. So I thought right here, yeah, right here is where you want to go if you want to watch that video. You can just Google this in there or whatever, and you can watch the entire video yourself. It's about an hour long, but it has a lot of benefits of iodine that I'm taking and selenium that I've been taking now for probably about 2 weeks right there. Yeah, But yeah, for you people that don't want to take no more of these stinking drugs and stuff the doctors give you, these two things are a good start. So if you want to watch that video, go ahead. That's all I'm going to put up with it because I'm putting it on YouTube. But we'll catch you later, and good health to y'all. Bye.